fooled you, John Pally. I waited till 12:15. Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. I'm learning. Old dog, new tricks. Welcome, fellow Rotarians and guests, to the October 26th meeting of the Las Vegas Rotary Club. My name is Toni Kern, and I am honored and proud to be the 101st president of the greatest Rotary Club in the universe. At this time, I'd like to bring up Suzette Wheeler, who's already, oh, look at this. Everybody's waiting in the wings because they know, and Brock Frazier for our invocation and song, starting with invocation.
So here's invocation. Dear Lord God, please help us pray for peace in the Middle East, especially with our Israeli friends and family. Please let us practice peace in our country. Please let us learn to help each other. And let us, as our Rotary Club, be helpful in our community and be the people that everyone aspires to see and be. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. This is dangerous, giving me the mic. It's kind of like giving the mic to past President Russ Swain. I get to step up on my soapbox here. And when I first came into the club a long time ago, they taught us in doing the song thing that, first of all, we get invited to lead a song. We pick a song. We show up. 2, we let you know what the song is going to be. We start the song, and then we put the mic down. You didn't come to hear me sing as much as I might like to. So, having said that, join me please in "Oh, beautiful for
Thank you, Past President Brock. And thank you, Past President Brock. Would you please join Past President Brock, Suzette, and I in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance. Thank you. You may all be seated. Absolutely. Where's Melanie? Melanie, where are you? No, you don't have to go anywhere. Just add that to your list for orientation. Thank you. The meeting that we are here for today. Thank you. The meeting we are here for today cannot take place without a lot of help. Putting an agenda together so that the meeting flows, and for all the people that help put things together so it continues to flow. For setup, we had Dr. Kathy Mahan, Don Holland, and Rodney Tucker. For greeters, we had Sean Sennett. For our sign-in welcome guide, past President Richard Jost, thank you very much. You learned a different role and position. For our ticket sales, Bob Pizer and Brian Riley. Our photographer, our own paparazzi, Tina Bishop, yay. Scribe, ever-loving John Pally. Our AV team, combination of Austin Wyrick, David Jones, and Stu Lipoff. Teardown today will be by Liz Rothwell and Tucker Sappington, thank you. And my special Sergeant at Arms, my bestie, Nancy Anderson. So thank you. And let's give a round of applause to everybody, please, for helping. Are you ready to roll? All right, we're going to do introductions, and if you'd hold your applause to the very end, and I'll tell you when we're at the end, actually, it'll be when we do the president's table. Do we have any international visitors here today? No, well, I know. Murray, I think you're sort of an honorary international kind of guy. So thank you for coming from Calgary. Welcome, Murray. Visiting Rotarians, I think, Brock, you have someone.
Thank you. We have the pleasure this afternoon to have Mr. Lou Tobin from the Norm, Alaska Club joining us. Welcome. And we have a banner for Lou.
Where's Tina? There she is. She's already Johnny on the spot. Ooh, cool. Cool. Thank you. And welcome. Do we have any other visiting Rotarians here with us today? Okay, let's go to guests of Rotarians, that's straight guests of Rotarians.
Okay, I have a good friend of mine and my neighbor, Lima Scubista. He is with the venture finance company called Good Works. And we had some interesting experiences already in the first 10 minutes. He met someone from his home country of Lithuania in Pete Samalas. And then he also met his good friend, Michael Williams. So thank you very much. I've got my guest here.
Sort of a small world, isn't it? Any other guests of Rotarians? If so, raise hands, please. We've got one at Andrew.
My guest today is Corey Smith, Business Banking Specialist with US Bank.
Welcome. Any other guests of Rotarians? Going once, going up. Kathy? She's coming to you.
Hi, I have a guest today, and actually so does Kirk. It turns out both of us have Gina as our guest, and she'll be introduced again later because she came to get a donation from us. But this is Gina Gelbach Hall, my friend.
Thank you. Kirk, were you going to do another one, or it's all covered? It's covered. Okay, just checking, just checking. Just say ditto. Okay. Any other guests of Rotarians? All right. How about guests of the club? Nikki, you have one to start with?
Good afternoon, Rotarians. I am going to let Demetrius introduce himself. He is a former Rotarian.
Good morning, good afternoon. Dimitris Kouris, former Rotarian, moved to Las Vegas a couple of years ago, retired university professor. Good to be here. Thank you.
Any other guests of Rotarians? I believe there's one more somewhere. Is there one more anywhere? Okay. Brian arrived and he left. He's from the Philippines, but he had to leave.
Tony, I'm sorry, we do have another guest of the club.
Guest of the club, welcome. Okay,
Yes,
go for
Nikki
it.
Junium, if you would like to stand up. And it's Nikki with 2 Ks, and I'm Nikki with 1 K, just so you're aware. But we welcome you today. Thank you.
Do we have any other guests of the club? Going once, going twice. Let's give a round of applause now and welcome all of our guests and fellow Rotarians. Okay, moving right along. First, a reminder once again, if you haven't already done so, put it. What are you telling me? Oh, yes. Thank you. Everybody knows but me. I'd like to introduce the guests at my head table. Our speaker today, Eric Hobson. His guest is J.C. Willett. Are you hospital coordinator? Okay, there you go. And our own Stu Lipoff. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Okay, now, if you haven't already marked in your calendars, please do so. November 16, no Rotary meeting here. You've got a week off. F1 has taken over, so you have a reprieve. Number 2, a big, huge thank you. Thank you, John. A big thank you from the staff at Lowry's for everyone cooperating with the request to keep the east side of the Port Cochere clear for emergency vehicles. So thank you all for doing what we do and following the rules. Next for announcements. Okay, Nancy, now you're going to start rolling. Quick recap. The Giant Fall Farmers Market. Thank you to the 8 Rotarians that came. We had a blast. And Rita actually inducted and brought her husband, Andy, who was of great help. And we had 3 members from the After Hours Club. It was great fun. 29 schools with slightly under 300 people. Tina will have photos next week. Lots of crops, lots of pumpkins, but ask Michael Williams about his painted pumpkin. Another quick thing, just so that you know, in the Nevada Business Week, yet again, thanks to Kelly Carlson, who was here last week or the week before, and Sarah Thornton in Connected Communications, we made it again in the media. 100 Years of Giving, Las Vegas Rotary Club continues annual donations, surpassing $40,000 this year alone, and the year isn't over. So that article I'll put on the table if anyone's interested in reading it. Okay, Nancy, start running. Aaron, is Aaron here? Aaron, do you want to do the announcement? Smith Center. Huh? You want to do it? Here.
Oh, yeah.
Here. Everything she wrote.
Oh, that's
Just change
oh.
to put first person.
My announcement is going to be much shorter. I just wanted to extend to the club, the Smith Center's thank you and appreciation for our sponsorship and partnership to be able to reach so many students through their student matinee program. Yesterday, there were about a little under 1,100 students through between 8 to 9 schools. And this week, there'll be about 10,000 students participating in their program. So just want to a thank you from the Smith Center.
Thank you so much, Aaron. For those of you that are unclear, when we had our Centennial Project, it was for purposes of various programs with the Smith Center, one of which is student matinee presentation. And they've been kind enough to include us each time they have it for volunteers to help. This was the second time. There will be more to come. And both past President Ginger and Aaron were in attendance on our behalf. So thank you. It's a great opportunity. Mike Mewborn, you've been reassigned to mention Wine to Water.
Hey, everybody. Perhaps you remember me. We had the Water to Wine, tremendous success. Yeah, that.
Let him say it whichever way he wants. It's okay.
We did emphasize the wine part, but we raised $2,740.65 for the water charity, which is charitywater.org. In addition, we also raised $500 for Mateo for his trip. And at the end, give a great round of applause for Debbie Howard. She pulled off a great event. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rotary.
For those of you that don't know, this was the first one that we've done since before COVID. So we had a nice turnout. It was great. So thank you, Debbie, for doing such a nice job. And thank you for all of the folks that assisted her. Is past President Jim Cole here? There he is. You've got some Santa Claus talking to do.
President Tony, my fellow Rotarians, I just want to remind you, December 2nd at 8:30, we'll be stuffing backpacks at the Boy Scout facility. And shout out to Dr. Nikki with 1K. She got us 3 sets of books for each of the kids, and they're all packed in nice envelopes. So it'll be very easy to get them in the bags for the kiddos. We do have a new ask. We need someone with a pickup truck to come get them from her office and then keep them and bring them to the backpack stuffing. So if you have a truck and can do that for me or for the club, please let me know. And then the 7th, December 7th, we'll be shopping with the kids and also doing a field day down at the Boy Scout facility. Thanks to Patrick, who's here with us today, for sharing your, your facility with us. We really appreciate it. So if you want to help, please sign up in the book. And we look forward to doing this again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And for a couple more quick little tidbits, the matching is through the end of this month, so you still have a little time for the matching. And number 2, with the help of fangirl Liz Rothwell, their Channel 5 is going to be covering Santa Claus wherever Ginger is going to be located. Those things are going to be arranged. So thank you, Liz. Next coming up, Rodney, you're the speaker for the 25 Club. Wait, let it go. Yeah, you want
The next 25 Club potluck and member orientation is at Rita's home. Rita, you want to raise your hand? That's not where she lives, but that's where she is. That'll be on Thursday the 2nd at 6 p.m. We're having a little pregame drink fest in Rita's driveway right before. Thought the neighbors would appreciate that, right? Tailgate party at Rita's at 5:30. And then lastly, you're 15% off the Lazy Dogs for our canned food drive is ending this next Tuesday. So trample Lazy Dogs between now and Tuesday, please.
Thank you. And also, please remember the Halloween party is canceled. It will not be taking place this year. Past President Russ Swain, you got some info to pump for our canned food drive auction.
Hello, fellow Rotarians and guests. It's Past President Russ Swain here. And man, we have some exciting stuff going on next week. We have an auction that we are going to auction off 2 items. And the first one is a Raiders Vikings game, and it's a value of $3,600, you guys. It's hold on here, let me get my information. The game is on December 10th. It's Raiders versus the Vikings, and the starting bid will start at $1,800. You can buy the package right now for $4,500 if you want that. Come and see me right now. Or next week, we're going to be auctioning this prize off. And also, so it's great seats. It's in one of the boxes, food and beverage included. The next item we are auctioning off is a Vegas Golden Knights game. It's the Coyotes versus the Knights. It's on Saturday, the 25th, November 25th at 7 o'clock. Starting bid $300. Buy now, pass $800. Anyway, it's access to the Bud Light Lounge. So next week, if you want to participate, bring a bunch of money. We're going to auction this thing off. Thanks for letting me talk.
And remember, we want to beat the Kiwanians again. So think big. Think big. Okay. Next up, Rosalie in the back, our VIP tour, please. Thank you, Past President Russ.
Okay, everyone, not sure how far the Green Book has made it, but if it hasn't gotten to you, you still have
Don't
time
go
to
there. We
sign
got a
up.
surprise later. Just keep going.
Pardon me?
I said, don't go there on the Green Book. We have a surprise later. Just
Oh,
keep going.
didn't know that. Okay, so the VIP tour, y'all, is going to be at Blackfire Tech facility. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We need more people to sign up. We have a max of 50. It will be at the Tech Center on 8400 West Sunset, Thursday, November 9th, 3 to 6 p.m. And the cost is $25 per person, and that $25 goes directly to our foundation. So
Perfect.
love to see you there.
Thank you, Rosalie. And now Nancy, Tina, if you go to past President Tom Crow, he's going to talk about the cigar social.
Thank you, President Tony. Just a reminder, November 9th, we have our cigar fellowship. It's going to be at Dan and Cammie Adamson's house in Summerlin. You need to sign up in the Green Book or on the fifth wheel because it is a gated community. They need to have the names ahead of time. Cost is $10 a person. Bring your favorite beverage. Cigar smokers, bring a cigar to smoke or two, bring one to trade and bring one for the troops. And it's open to all people, friends and family. So put it on your calendar, November 9th, 6 o'clock.
Thank you, past President Tom. Nancy, if you go over to Greg McGuire, please. Tailgate.
All right, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. We're here to talk about the UNLV Wyoming game on November 10th at 7:45. You can see on the slides that we're going to have a pre-game tailgate starting at 6 p.m. It's going to be in parking lot G for Greg. You can't forget it. So we have the Green Book. It's going around. It's going to be an awesome game. We're playing, I think, Colorado State tomorrow. And then it's going to be against Wyoming. This is, if you don't know, UNLV is already eligible for a bowl game. So we're trying to get them out of the Potato Bowl and into like the Hawaii Bowl. Okay, so we need everybody to get there. Please sign up in the Green Book. We're going to be buying tickets probably the end of next week. And we look forward to seeing everybody. Russ is going to have his truck out there. There's going to be a Rotary flag. It's going to be a great event. So come on out. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Now, where is our event princess? Janice. Go back the other way, Nancy. I'm sorry. No, back that. Oh, there she is.
So the holiday party, again, is Thursday, December 7th at Canyon Gate Country Club. We already have over 50 people signed up, which is fantastic for October. Reminder, it is an intimate but beautiful ballroom. So the sooner you get on the list, the better. I continue to kind of tease you with the fact that we are going to have some very fun activations that evening. So a few things that you've not seen before. So get signed up. Make sure you have a seat. Thanks.
Thank you, Janice. And now a special announcement of something really new and exciting. Liz Rothwell, please, on Rotaract.
I have to announce two things. So Rotaract, we are restarting at Rotaract at UNLV. It is official. They no longer need an official sponsor, so we're going to be engaging the students a little bit differently. Our main goal is to start a mentor program between the college kids and people in our club. I'm actively recruiting anyone who is willing to volunteer 1 hour a month. I will pair you with a student that meets your career. And that, I think, is how we're going to get the kids interested kind of in the beginning. Also, if you teach at UNLV, if you have relatives at UNLV, if you have neighbors whose children are attending UNLV, we need 7 founding members by January in order to apply for the charter. And that is because the students then have to apply for status on campus by February. If they do not apply by February, they have to wait a whole other year in order to get status on campus. So if you have any students that you think would be interested in being founding members of Rotaract at UNLV, please reach out to me, give me their information. I'm happy to talk to them. And then Justin, who was here a few weeks ago, Justin Griffin from the business school, is going to be their full-time faculty sponsor.
So mentors and potential students go to you.
Mentors and potential students. The mentorship program will be just for the semester. And then if you want to continue the next semester, you would get a new student. And again, they'll be matched based on the students that are also interested. So even if you're interested in being a mentor. We may not have a student that semester, but we may in the future.
And only 1 hour a month.
1 hour a month. If you want to do more than 1 hour a month, you're more than welcome. But 1 hour, a coffee, a phone call, a Zoom meeting, anything that you can, and honestly, kind of basic things like how do you dress professionally? How do you handshake properly? How do you respond to a business email? Things that all of you have done.
Thank you for undertaking this.
Yeah, of course. And then I also am supposed to let you know that I kind of give a clip about it. Last week, I went home for my first reunion in 30 years from high school, and it was so awesome. But when I was there, I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm here for a week. So I decided to look up my hometown's Rotary Club. They happened to be meeting. So I RSVP'd and I was so excited. And I'm so used to being here with you wonderful folks with Phil, tons of tables and tons of faces. And I show up for this meeting and it's 15 people. But they were incredibly welcoming and were happy to give me a flag, even though I did not have one to exchange in return. So I'm going to add this to our banner, and I'm so happy to have a little piece of my history here.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we have a very special presentation. President-elect Kirk Alexander and his representatives from the Assistance League.
I tried. It didn't work. So today we're going to make a grant to the Assistance League of Las Vegas, and I want to share a little bit with you. And then Gina's going to talk about the incredible work that they do. For 47 years, the Assistance League in Las Vegas has been providing school essentials to children in need in Clark County. This is a really special privilege for me to have this role. I absolutely love doing this stuff. Today, we're supporting this great organization with a check for $3,500 for their project called Operation School Bell.
No, I'll do it. I'll just get it in the right side. Thank you very much for this check. As you know, as a nonprofit, we rely heavily on donations and people like you that open your wallets and share your hearts with the Assistance League of Las Vegas. Our signature, we do 12 philanthropic programs, but our signature program is Operation School Bell. We've been doing it over 45 years, and your check of $3,500 will actually clothe fully 26 with almost a 27th student. So thank you. Thank you. So you truly are the best Rotary Club in the universe. But we appreciate it very much. And our volunteers are busy at keeping the kids succeeding in school, which sounds like it mirrors your philanthropic work as well. And we just want the kids to succeed so they can be Rotary members in the future and Assistance League members in the future. So thank you very much. This will be put to great and very needed use. So thank you.
Okay, now we're changing up to something fun. Everybody in the room, I guess, I don't know about the guests, but you can take out your cell phones, which are already probably sitting right in front of you, and actually open them up because Stu's got some to talk to you about. I will no longer need to say, where's the green book? You will no longer be able to say, I didn't get the green book. It never made it around. So Stu, you're going to give them a two-step thing. Everybody, you have your phones out? Okay, push the button so they got a screen that's showing, and the maestro goes next.
Thank you, President Tony, and good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. You need one other thing. You need your wheel. Open your wheel, look for that little postage stamp thing, and I'm going to be your tour guide to take you into cyberspace here. So this is not just a one-time thing. This is something you can do anytime. The drill is real simple. Open your camera, point your camera at the little so-called QR code there. And what you're going to see is you're going to see everything that's in the Green Book. In fact, you're going to see some more stuff that hasn't made it into the Green Book yet. So what you can do is you can click on any one of those items, and then you can actually do the same sign up you can do here in the room. So you don't need to wait for the Green Book to come around to you. In fact, there's a little bit more information here. You'll also find a link to this in the monthly email, the fifth wheel that I send out to everyone. Either use this little QR code in your phone, or when you get it on your computer at home, click on this link and you should be able to see everything that's in the book. What this does is once you open this up and you fill it up, it basically sends an email to Sean with all the information that you type in, and she will manually write that into the Green Book. So you wonder if you're registered, just look the next week and you should see your name in there. Anyhow, please give it a try. If you have any trouble, see me afterwards and I'll help you with it, but it should just really just open right up.
So, no. So everybody should be able to do it. The Green Book, all those different pages, all the different little sections, they match up with the work that Stu has done. So thank you to Stu, to Sean, to Tina for putting that together. So we'll never have to say, where's the Green Book? I won't nag anymore. Okay, with that being said, let's go to the drawing. Okay, for the pot, which is $5,866. Last four digits, 8904. 8904. 89, Kathy. Okay, we're going to Kathy. All right, Kathy, hang on. For the Lowry's Bucks. Lowry's Bucks. 8820. 8820. 8820. Oh, yay. We have a Boy Scout winner. Come on up. You get to come up here. Two of them, $50. Lunch. See, it pays to come. Thank you, Todd. Oh, she likes pictures. And once again, this is the last week. Our own author, Arlene Surratt, has donated her Halloween book, Max and Buddy's Halloween. The winning ticket number is 8911. 8911. Is it Austin? Oh, 8911. Somebody has it. Okay, so we're going to ask Eric or somebody to pick another number, another ticket, please. Okay, let's try it again. Thank you. For Arlene Surratt's children's book, last numbers 8831. 8831. Where do we have it? Steve Kwan. Is this a first, Steve? So it pays off 20 years of buying raffle tickets? And it's personally signed, so that's worth the 20 years wait. Ah, wonderful. Oh, she wants pictures. Pictures. All right. So 5 minutes of fellowship, or do we start while poor Eric is trying to finish? Let Eric finish eating his lunch. You ready to roll? Let's roll then. Stu.
So hello, everyone. I have the great privilege of introducing our guest speaker, Eric Hobson, today. So everyone in this room is already very much involved in serving the community with their time and treasure. And so I think you'll find our speaker, Eric Hobson, very much a kindred spirit. After serving the country in the Air Force, he's taken on the responsibility of coordinating a team of volunteers who also serve the community with their time and treasure. But he adds to that a force multiplier, a mix of technology. I do not want to take away from Eric's time and his presentation by reading his impressive bio. You can read that yourself on the wheel. He's going to share with us some information regarding the resource his volunteer team provides as last resort communications facilities for his served government agencies. I want to explain that just a little bit more. By last resort, I mean that when all other infrastructure is broken and nothing else works, nothing, no electricity, no internet, overloaded phones, infrastructure damaged by earthquake or any other disaster that overload our resources, the team that Eric coordinates has a self-contained ability to maintain emergency backed up communications among and between his various served agencies. So here's Eric.
Thank you, Stu, for that introduction, and thank you, Tina, and President Tony. Did I get that correct? Thank you very much for hosting us today. Between what's written in your wheel, is that correct? And what Stu just told you, you've heard half of what I intended to say. So we'll expedite this and get the rest. A little fun. Okay, eat the mic. Got it. Okay. Very good. So while the slides are still coming up, again, I'm Eric Hobson. My full job title that I think I can manage to say correctly once is the Emergency Coordinator for the Clark County, Nevada Amateur Radio Emergency Service. I'll probably just say ARES from this point forward because it's a mouthful. You heard that I have JC Willett here. He is my hospital coordinator, and we'll hear throughout the talk here what those terms might mean and why they're important to us and I think to the community as well. That looks familiar. I believe it's bottom right-hand corner. Somewhere down here, there's an option for full screen, I believe. This looks just like a ham radio operation. We pretty much get 90% of it right off the bat and within a few minutes. Since most of us are MacGyvers of various sorts, we figure it out. Yeah, they say when all else fails, we manage to get things done, and we're pretty good at making things fail. Isn't that right, JC? Okay, so I was just gonna, let me grab my paper copy just so I know what I'm supposed to say while they're hunting, and I can at least get the introductory points out. Oh, there we go. So touch points for this morning. Most people don't know that ham radio is still a thing. They thought that that maybe went the way of the dinosaur or leaded gasoline, perhaps. So I thought I'd just give a little few minutes on what ham radio is in 2023, and then touch point on what is emergency communications related to ham radio, what it used to be, and what it still is. Some similarities, but as you might imagine, the bureaucracy has creeped in. Drill down into Clark County specifics, and then throughout the talk here, you may recognize some opportunities for collaboration, and I'll make sure to see some of those that I saw as well, highlight some of those. And that's what I just said. All right. Yeah, go ahead. So what is ham radio in 2023? You're probably thinking of something along this line, some glowing vacuum tubes and somebody sitting in a basement talking to Timbuktu or banging out some Morse code. Yeah, that's still kind of what ham radio is in 2023. People still do that. From a government perspective, it's a restriction of several frequencies reserved for non-commercial hobby use. And from the government perspective, they're mostly interested in non-commercial use. We're required as part of our licensing to know the federal regulation that covers it. So there it is. But that's really what it is. You may not have considered, if you're not in the technical arena or with radio, that the electromagnetic frequencies, the range of frequencies, like you dial in on your radio on your car, those are a natural resource of the country. They're managed by every nation. And our nation has coordinated with others around the globe and reserved certain ones for us to use. What do we do with that? Well, I mentioned voice communications, just like back in the day. Certainly Morse code is still alive, but more and more today you see data communications. Just everybody's got internet service. Everybody expects internet service like products, and we are getting into that. Here's a ham radio operator you may recognize, Mr. Tim Allen. This is his call sign from this is his fake call sign from his character on his show. He does have a real call sign, of course. And this is part of his station, which is much more modern, as you might imagine. And they did actually make real radio contacts on air and film that, and it did show up in the show. So I guess I'll address this to everybody in general. Interesting. And to David in particular with the radio that he walked up to me with. Anyone can listen to any frequency, just like in your car. You can tune into anything you want. It's free. It's unencrypted. It's all good to go. However, if you want to transmit, David, you need to have a license. And there are 3 categories of licenses that basically give you a greater range of frequencies to use, which allow you to transmit farther, including globally. And certainly if you're going to do that, you need to know what you're doing. And the government makes sure we do that. How many are there? Well, 750,000 approximately nationwide. Can you believe that? 750,000 still. And 7,000 in Clark County, which is of course the lion's share that you would see in Nevada, the same way that everything is with Clark County population wise. I took a snapshot of those surrounding us right here. This is the registered ham users around this location. That's fairly dense, I'd say. There's no Morse code test, so if you've ever had an inkling or an interest, you don't have to be afraid of having to learn that. To get into it, it's fairly cheap. They have the radios that David brought up to me and that I brought along with me. We refer to these pejoratively as the cheap Chinese radios. You can get them for $25. They're very accessible to pretty much everybody who would care to monitor. And of course, you can spend whatever you want to. You can go thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Some people buy property specifically so they can put up towers. Who knows? But it's very cheap to get into initially. And within the regulatory framework, it's recognized for facilitating technical innovation. You find that in a lot of hobbies, the people who do it for fun figure out things that the people who professionally aren't looking at. Also, recognized to support emergency communication, and radio waves do not stop at international borders. So when you talk to somebody one-on-one, you maybe get a different story than you get through the public media, say. And that engenders goodwill, and that's actually written into the federal statutes as a reason to keep those frequencies reserved for us. The most specific reference I could find was the Clark County Emergency Operations Plan. Shockingly, you can download that and read it and find out what the county's up to with regard to a lot of things, including radio communications for amateur radio. So once you have a license and a radio, what do you do with it? Well, ham radio is sort of recognized as the first social network. Before there was Facebook, before there was Twitter, if you wanted to have 20 or 300 people on a call nationwide, ham radio was the only way to do that. And that still is the case today. You'll find people mostly talking about their radios, frankly. But some ham operators also support public events. Just recently, there was a first responders relay race starting at Lake Las Vegas, going down through Boulder City, back through Henderson. That occupied about 25 of us to provide race status and race coordination. Any Corvette Club members here? Silver State Classic? Okay. The local Corvette Club sponsors a 100-mile race on a public road, Highway 318 in the eastern part of Nevada. And you can imagine it's a straight road, so the race director is 100 miles away from somebody leaving the course at over 200 miles an hour, say. That has occurred. And that there's about 40 ham operators and another 100 people with lower powered unlicensed radios to keep an eye on the course and make sure that if something happens, we know about it, we can get them airlifted out and to keep cows off the road. We support our local government agencies. We'll talk a little bit about that today. I was doing that this morning. And through JC's efforts in particular, support our local hospitals. I don't want to oversell it. We're just getting started, but this is what we're going to do. We've done some of this. What kind of things do you do besides voice? Well, you can certainly send email, like real email, to another ham operator or reach out into commercial systems or government systems. So if you're somewhere that has no communications, you can actually reach out to FEMA, reach out to Department of Homeland Security, whoever you need to with their communication systems from where you are, again, without grid power if you need to. Certainly text messages are easy to do, photos are easy to do. Data transfer in the pre-dial-up internet era kind of data rates. It's almost embarrassing, you might say. And for about the last decade, we've been repurposing broadband internet communications equipment. Some of you may have these on the roof of your house, the little square antennas, or on the roof of your commercial buildings. We're repurposing those to get higher data rates. No problem. Okay, ham radio is also called out for providing educational opportunities, primarily to adults because they're the ones who are mostly getting the licenses, but there's no age restriction. Children get ham radio licenses. And I've found a couple of examples recently in Nevada. My counterpart in Elko County, Kamaya Hamilton, has a very thick binder. She happens to be a teacher in a middle school there, and for her homeroom, she's brought radio equipment in. That spurred some interest, of course, in the kids, and she generated a year-long program for them to learn about it, to get a license if they care to, but to learn about radio technology in general. In the process of doing that, you might expect that they learn about electronics, digital technology, meaning computers, analog technology, meaning radios. We actually bounce our signals off the ionosphere, off the sky, to get around the world. And if you're going to do that, you better know something about atmospherics and space science and space weather. So they learn about that. And just like we heard about, learn how to make a business call, learn how to respond to a business letter. Well, you need to know how to respond to proper radio protocols as well. So they learn how to do that. And if you're talking to somebody certainly outside of Elko, probably outside of Nevada, if you're talking to somebody from Texas, they get out a map and look and see where's Texas. If you're talking to somebody from Australia, they get out a map and see where's Australia. And certainly the person you're talking to may not be a English as a first language person, so that gives them an opportunity to expand their experience there. More locally, not at a school, but it's actually the STEAM Center, I found out the last couple of nights ago. Mesquite has set up a science and technology Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics Center. Has 3D printers, computers, and some of our folks have gone and taken ham radio equipment in there as well, which gives an opportunity to expose the public to that, and certainly children are part of that. I'll make it up as I go. It's fine. If you're getting tired of me, just keep rolling it. To show you about this repurposing internet equipment for our own use, it's a real eye chart. You're not meant to really read anything on it, but each of these dots is an amateur radio station in a mesh network for internet, meaning if one of those nodes go down, the network keeps running. This is San Francisco. It's been built out pretty well. Southern California, all the way out to Oxnard, is built out pretty well. Portland, a much smaller area, but it's built out pretty well. And then there's Vegas. We do have an active ham mesh network trying to build out Vegas, but frankly, we're, I think, way behind. These are the types of services that our served agencies, namely the County Office of Emergency Management, I think would rather see. They'd much rather have us say, look, hook your cell phone to my router and keep on working, and not let me transcribe that message and send it over voice to someone else who's also going to transcribe the message and hand it off. Can you imagine conducting business in that manner? These technologies don't require huge towers like you probably think of for ham radio. Again, these little square things are probably one on this building actually. They're rather unobtrusive. And I'd like to see that effort built out. Am I right there? Okay, because some people don't like internet anything. So. Okay, so transitioning from what is amateur radio to how does it play with emergency communications? You've already said he puts way too many words on the slide. I get that. Let me just highlight a few. The report I could find was from 1965 from the Department of Defense Office of Civil Defense. Anybody remember that? No, I don't, because I was still 4 years shy of that, but okay. Duck and cover, that's right. But the ham radio backup systems were managed under that department through a program called the Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Services. That term is still used today. Even this morning, as I participated in a communications exercise with about 24 Clark County agencies, we were known as the Aries Races Group. But back in the day, even with a population about half what the United States has today, there were 1,750 plans that the Civil Defense Office was managing. I dare say we took it seriously. And why do we take it seriously? Because when the landlines went down, that's what you had. Sure, the government agencies have some of their own radios, but the ham operators brought a lot more capacity to try to solve that problem. Looking forward to today. Civil defense doesn't exist anymore. Nobody's walking around knocking on your door with a white helmet and a CD on it. At least if they are, don't open the door. It's been replaced with the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA. And as a result of some notorious, I guess, events in our country, 9/11 and Katrina in particular, we as a citizenry have demanded better responses from our federal government. Do better. And in response to that, the Department of Homeland Security adopted a program out of CAL FIRE called the Incident Command System. And with that, regardless of the size of the incident, whether it's something small or something even planned, like F1 coming up, or something unplanned, like a magnitude 7 quake in the middle of Las Vegas, say, they have drop-in plans with organizational charts, job titles, qualifications for those job titles, and even qualifications for equipment. I'll just read this out. It says ISO class 1 on this Henderson ambulance. You may notice that on some emergency equipment. Everything has been categorized so that you know what you're ordering, you know what you're getting. There's no question about it. There's no debating, do you need a ditch witch or a huge backhoe? No, they each have a classification, and it takes a fair amount of study to use that correctly and order what you need. Ham radio still is one of the vestiges of civil defense that hangs over, though. Even just this year, our parent organization, the Amateur Radio Relay League, signed a memorandum of understanding with FEMA stating that ham radio is still in the mix for incident responses. And by the way, I sort of skipped over that if you want money from FEMA, you're using this system, which means that we're in play. So we're still in the game. However, if you want to play in FEMA sandbox, well, you got to play by their rules. And again, they've categorized everything and put qualifications on everything for good reason. You don't want somebody showing up saying they're a fire chief when they're not, or anything else. You want to know what you're getting. So, and the Amateur Radio Relay League has aligned all of the training that they did for 60, 70 years to align with FEMA's requirements. So we are a subsidiary, you could say, of ARRL. We are their emergency services activity. So if you want to come join up with us, the first thing I'm going to do is sit you down in front of a computer and tell you to complete 4 online courses from FEMA that outlines what the incident command system is and how you fit into it. A lot of ham operators somehow think they're a first responder. They are not. They somehow think that they're going to save the world with the radio. They can at least help the situation. So that's a little bit of a gut check to get them started. And then if you, quote, really want to get serious about it and you want to get an official certification from FEMA, you can attend a auxiliary communicator or AUXCOM class for 2 to 3 days in residence. And the first one to be offered in Southern Nevada is going to be in the beginning of November. Might have something to do with the fact that F1 is coming to town and that FEMA has asked, where are your radio operators? I'm just saying. And once you're done with that, you pick up a task book and complete lots of things in it to prove that you can actually operate in the field. That task book can take 3 to 5 years to complete. And then you are put on FEMA's roster of people who are available basically as a reservist to go nationwide in time of need. So that's where we stand with how things go officially with emergency communications. Looking down at Clark County, our local point of contact is the Clark County Office of Emergency Management. I am not a golfer, so I can't choose the correct club, but you could almost hit it with a ball from here down the street at Fire Station 18. They own 4 ham radio linked voice repeaters. Remember I said this is supposed to be, I didn't mention, but ham radio is also not for government use unless we are involved. However, the county has bought 4 linked repeaters. They're well sited on mountaintops so that even with a rather small radio, as long as you're not standing inside of a building, if you need help within Clark County, you can hit one of those repeaters and you will energize the entire county. If you're in Laughlin, you can talk to Indian Springs. If you're in Mesquite, you can talk to Vegas. That's pretty good. They didn't do it out of the goodness of their heart or so that we could talk about our own radios. They did it so that if their systems are not functional or overloaded, that we can provide emergency communication services to them. The city and operation centers, some of them also have ham equipment for voice and digital equipment. We operated some of that this morning, and some hospitals have similar equipment. And we are just now post-COVID getting back into those operation centers to determine what's functional, what's not. Certainly the computers were robust for their day, but they're outdated. And we're starting to assess what our manpower requirements are to actually staff up for all of those requirements should something major occur. We're not the only game in town, although we are the official point of contact. Ham clubs have their own emergency communications plans. I've been told by some of our former members that are ham club members, you're doing it wrong. Why are you gearing up to provide FEMA free labor? We pay good money for our taxes. I get it. But their role, they believe, is to provide the ground truth reporting from around the community. So they'll be out staying near home reporting, I have a gas main break, I have a water main break, I need an ambulance, I need aeromedical evacuation. And that will filter up to the operation centers, perhaps through us. Looking at us specifically, we are a 503C, and we are, I'm saying, absorbing the FEMA and Office of Emergency Management requirements. We have drank the Kool-Aid. We accept the fact that we have to get certified, and we are investing our time and our energy and resources and our own equipment to do so, because that's what the community has decided it requires. Similarly, we support the hospital requirement. They fall under the the Office of Emergency Management, and we've been told we need to support them under that umbrella, and JC is our point of contact here. He can talk to you about that. To do that, we have monthly in-person training, and we have weekly meetings on the air that we call nets, where we operate 8 different communication modes to make sure that the equipment's still working, and frankly, with all the gadgets, to make sure that we still know how to use it. There's a lot of gadgets that you can very quickly forget how to use. At the moment, we're fairly small. We've got 40 members. As of this time last year, I would have stood up here and said, well, we sort of have 140, 135 of them you could never find. So when I took over in April, I set the roster at 0 and said, if you're actually interested in participating, register. And we got about 30 of our former people said, yes, I'm actually in. And about 10 more people that said, oh, look, you're getting serious. I'm in as well. If we were to simultaneously have to support everything the county says we have to with all the medical facilities and town boards in the urban environment here, we may not think of Searchlight and Indian Springs and Good Springs. We need to support them as well. If we were to have to do that simultaneously, I need about 500 people trained, certified, and ready to go. When I talk to my counterparts from around Nevada, they about faint because they don't have 500 people in the county, never mind 500 ham operators. But we're never going to have to do that all at once. But I think realistically, if we get 350 people on the books to draw from, that will cover the contingency that we might be called up to support. And again, we're growing. Upcoming events. Has anybody heard of F1? Yes. We indeed have been what we call activated to support that. We're going to provide about 40 hours of support to the county's multi-agency coordination center, which you see pictured here. This is the facility right down the street. All the major agencies have a seat at the table, literally, with internet connected phones and internet connected computers and their wonderful cell phones. That all of that technology has been proven to suffer in the case of a major emergency. Hence the reason we are in the room. Our mission until this morning was to provide assured communications with Carson City through a direct radio link. As it turns out, there's no one in Carson City going to be there to answer the call. I was at least smart enough to make that phone call. So our mission is changing. I believe we will be in 4 different operation centers besides the multi-agency coordination center, I think. As for Super Bowl, no one is thinking about that just yet, but it's going to look just like our event support for F1. And all operation centers basically look the same. That's the one up in Carson City. So, opportunities for us to collaborate, perhaps. Well, come out and see what we do. Come out to one of our training sessions. It may be exciting for you to see us do something in the field. Our fire chief decided to visit on a day we were talking about coaxial cable, and he was not all that amused. Necessary topic to talk about. If you're doing a public service event, a charity event, and you need some situational awareness throughout your event, if it's over some reasonable geographic spread, inquire to us or to a ham radio club. Hey, can you provide 10 radio operators, 5 radio operators? The chances are you will get who you need. Fair warning, we can't get paid for anything we do with our FCC license, but we accept t-shirts from the event. If you happen to have a well-placed commercial property, well-placed, you may not think it is, but to us it may be perfect. Putting up a radio relay like one of those small square antennas would greatly help build out the network. And that would be something that your business could provide, I think, at a very low cost and provide that as a public service. Because everything we do pretty much now is out of our own pocket. And government retirees, military retirees like us, that doesn't go very deep. If you have a business that has old IT equipment, laptops in particular, I'm not talking about Windows 7 here. But if you have something that's still useful and you think you'd like to repurpose that instead of jettisoning it, let us know, and we may be able to repopulate those into our hospitals or other facilities that we're charged to support. Certainly, we're going to be chasing government grants and whatnot, but who knows how long it takes to get those. And David, get licensed. He came up and had a radio and said, my friend told me to get this so I could use it in case of emergency. And that's a perfect case. There's thousands and thousands of people who have done that. And according to the FCC, if you have an emergency, yes, you can certainly use the radio. We would prefer that people learn the rules through the licensing programs. And if you're going to do that, and I'm not going to tell you not to, because if you need to, you need to. Listen before you talk, and if it's already being used for emergency communications for someone else, defer to them until you have an open opportunity. In case you wish to deep dive, there's a few references, and go ahead for the next one. That's our website. If you're looking for contact information for, there's not very many staff of us. Again, we're growing, but that will get you to myself and anyone else that you might want to contact regarding emergency communication services through ham radio. With that, exactly that.
Well, thanks for being here today. Mike Mewborn probably relate to this, but back in the day when I was flying for the Navy, we'd be over the Persian Gulf and we would do an HF phone patch back to the squadron, loved ones. You had to be careful what you said. I mean, like you said, thousands of people could be listening. But it was, yeah, nothing was more frustrating. You get all the HF on your side, the propagation path correct, and then you get an answering machine on the other end, right? But are you guys still doing that, supporting military? Is that still an opportunity? Or
I have a colleague from work who was a B-52 crew member before he left the Air Force. And he said they also still were doing HF relays via ham radio, mostly for just to say hello to people. You're certainly not going to pass any military critical information over open lines, as you point out, but that's still being done. And there are actually two government systems, Mars and Shares. Military affiliate radio system, and Shares I don't know about. Mars was specifically built to use HF, high frequency stuff you bounce off the sky there. Use that equipment for military purposes, and Shares has taken that on to spread it throughout the entire United States government. So critical nodes within the United States government, should Armageddon occur, they can still talk to each other with very much reduced capacity. But I've been told the story is false, but I believe when we sank the Bismarck, the message back was saw ship sank same. Nothing more needed to be said. So we like to send 14 megapixel pictures to each other now, but you really don't need all that much bandwidth to get the true message across. And I appreciate the comment from our fellow veteran.
Hi, I have two quick questions. So you mentioned that they go for like $25, and I know they could go much higher. So does it matter on the radius of the reception, if it's 1 mile or 10-mile radius of the device?
Yes, the most important thing is what the quality of your antenna. Some people say amateur radio really ought to be called amateur antenna, because you can take a fairly low quality, low capability radio, put a reasonable antenna on it, and you can get fairly good range. Now that's out in the desert here, that's fine. In the urban area, I don't care what you have, you're not going to go very far. But yeah, Stu buys better equipment than I do. Couple of $100 for a handheld, something like that. Is that about right? Five or 600? Okay. Well, I buy cheap and I buy two, so when I drop it or someone else needs one, I have one.
All right, thank you.
But yes, you can get into it really cheap. And of course, you can spend as much as you like to have something. We require our members to have a Go Kit, which includes a radio that you might mount in your car. It's got about 5 times as much transmit power as this, and a decent antenna to put it on, and a pole to put it on, and a battery to power it with, and preferably solar or a generator to keep it going.
All right. And the second question is, you mentioned that it's global ham radio users are going through. Is this something that you, I don't know if you know, but if it's being utilized with what's going on with the Middle East, and I'm sure where all the bombing, the towers, cell towers are knocked down, is that something they're utilizing?
I don't have any information as to what the local communities are using in those situations. I do know that when the Ukraine conflict started up, a notice went out to all amateur radio operators to stay off certain frequencies and to cease trying to contact anyone in Ukraine because, well, they've got something better to do at the moment than to play radio back to the United States. But I do know that after the Maui incident recently, the government has gone out, I've been told, that the government did go out and buy handheld radios for the local population to start being able to communicate around the shelters and around what was left of the community there.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you being here. This piggybacked partly on your comments, but also the picture that you showed of the dinosaur. I'm not sure if that was my dad. It could well have been my dad. His call letters were X-ray easy to Victor Sugar, Mexico. And when I was going to school in the States, we would, because phone calls back in those days, long distance, talking about in the 60s, phone calls were prohibitive. So we would phone patch through, except the difference was we didn't have telephone answering services. So either the phone got answered or it didn't get answered, but we would phone patch from Mexico to where I was going to school in Texas. And you'd all talk one way, get your message across, stop, switch around. So very interesting. Thank you.
Yes, and it's my understanding that during the Vietnam conflict, that was very prevalent to get morale calls back to the United States. So people had an opportunity to say hello to their family.
So Eric, I agreed to be your useful idiot today because
Well-
I brought mine.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank you especially. I was going to just sort of use some theoretical examples, but David shows up and says, hey, what's this?
So like I said, 10 years ago, a friend of mine said, we need more. So I go out and do the first step, which is I buy the radio. And then it died because he moved and I lost my instruction manual. I can turn it on. And I think he set me to the right frequency so that I can listen. But what can I do? I don't need another hobby because I'm not gonna, but what can I do to be better than just having this ready to listen?
Well, to tell you the truth, that's probably about 80 or 90% of what you're going to want. If for some reason the normal communication venues disappear, you can turn that on and kind of keep clicking through the channels to find somebody talking about something in your local area. And mostly just having a situational awareness as to what's going on around you. Do I need to leave my immediate area? Do I need to stay in my immediate area? That's probably mostly what you need. And certainly if you come across something in an emergency, you're welcome to key up and we will recognize that you're not a licensed ham and that will be fine. If you truly have a life-threatening emergency or something threatening a property, we're not going to call the FCC. We will help you as much as we can to get you the resources you need. Well, if that's an interest, then certainly pursue it. And if it's not, charge the radio and keep it standing by. Yeah, that'll mostly do it though.
Thanks, Eric. I have a question for you about redundancy and backup. So a couple weeks ago, we all got a fancy text message from the president across the national broadcast system. In decades gone by, if all those things failed, whatever those normal communication channels that we would use failed, the one place you could still get communication was a phone booth. That never changed, but now we don't have any phone booths. So today, what is the predominant or known backup systems to these things not working?
Right there. I had a hip pocket full of examples. I'll just cite one or two. Ridgecrest earthquake. Everybody wants to say cell phones are great. We've got cell phones on trailers that can be rolled in. That's true. for the first 2 days after the Ridgecrest earthquake. Thank you. That wasn't working so well, and ham radio operators numbering 50, and Ridgecrest is a much smaller community. They managed to scavenge up 50 ham radio operators to sit over there at the police station to dispatch ambulances and collect situational awareness as to what buildings are falling down and which buildings are standing. So there's an example that some of those 7,000, you'll recognize some of those 7,000 people. They'll be out in the street pointing their antenna in the sky and kind of wondering what's going on. So you can certainly find them and at least listen to find out what's going on in your local area.
Thank you so, don't go away. I need my script as well. You'd think I would know it by now. First of all, thank you so much for your time in providing the presentation today. It was a very interesting topic with stuff that I had no idea about. So thank you so much. And in appreciation for your time, we would like to present you with our legacy book of our 100 years Rotary Club of Las Vegas, together with our centennial coin. And last but not least, to provide you with the Salute to Service Award, which represents a donation made in your name to the USO Military Family Support Programs. And we have back there David Thorson with the USO. So thank you so very much for joining us. And JC, thank you as well. Okay. And in closing, in keeping with the theme of our RI President Gordon McAnally, to create hope in the world, and as American anthropologist Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that can. And with that, have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. Meeting adjourned.